And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where I cut Fathery off before when he was trying to say something.
That was nothing important.
Okay, welcome, welcome, audience. We already have Daniel Co here, and Daniel's excited to talk about these two episodes, so that's very exciting. Welcome to my esteemed, wonderful guest to Starfleet Boy, Fathery. Thanks for coming on.
Howdy.
And we have the Earl Grey Trekkie. Do you mind if we call you by your proper name as well on the show, or just Earl Grey Trekkie?
You can call me both.
All right, cool. Earl Grey Trekkie, or AKA Robbie. So welcome back, Robbie. This is your third episode of Starfleet Boy.
Thank you for having me.
You're a veteran now.
You're a veteran, practically. It's true. This is like Gary's 100th episode, I think, or something like that. We'll have to go back and
not as regular these days.
Welcome back, Tracker Prize. Hello.
Hi.
Yay. Oh, and Allison's here. Allison! I don't know why I had to scream your name like that. But welcome back. Very cool. And Shishan Girl's here too. Yay. Oh my gosh, there's like 9 people. Guys, say hello in the chats if you're here. Oh, and cool, Triangulum Studios here too. Oh wow, I made it at the beginning of one of these. Hey Robbie. That's cool. Now I know when you come into these streams, Triangulum Studios. So you're just like, oh, Starfleet Boy happens to be on. You're not setting any timers or anything like that. Fathery, I would like you, if it's okay, to give the episode summary, because I understand this is your favorite episode, or one of your favorite.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but the Menagerie Part 1 is actually the first TOS episode that I ever watched.
Oh, okay. So I think that's good. And then I have a special reason. Sometimes the Doctor complains about having a summary, but Gary, if you don't mind me revealing your setback here because of your busy life, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you. I love you. Gary has seen this episode, but was not able to see it recently. So you have to give a great summary so that Gary can kind of.
I have seen the episode about a couple of years ago.
So yeah, and to be fair, there may be members of our audience that also haven't seen it, but they're here for the conversation. So I appreciate that, and I think the summary is a good way to just kind of catch everyone up. Do you mind doing it, Fathery?
No, I don't mind at all.
Yes.
I would be honored. But
very well.
We're talking about both episodes, from what I understand.
Both episodes, yes.
The Menagerie Part 1 and Part 2, the only two-parter of Star Trek: The Original Series.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the only one. I thought it was the first one, but I didn't realize it's the only one. That's cool.
Well, it's still the first.
There's a special reason why it was a two-parter, and that is because this episode uses most of the footage from the unused pilot, The Cage, which starred Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike instead of William Shatner as Captain Kirk. But this episode that comes out like halfway into season 1, when we've already seen Shatner as Kirk and DeForest Kelley as Dr. McCoy and like this new cast, so they had to invent an idea that would use flashbacks to explain, all this stuff took place on the Enterprise years earlier. Only Spock was there, but it was a different first officer, different captain, different doctor. We get a story that begins with Starbase 11. The Enterprise has arrived. Kirk and Spock beam down, and they meet Commodore Mendez, and they also meet the crippled, wheelchair-bound, only speaking through like a binary light bulb, Captain Pike.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but it's unbelievable that to me that's how he speaks.
It is a little weird because we have like more advanced ways for people with these limitations to communicate now, but you just have to, for this story to work, Captain Pike can't testify himself, but they also need his like honest opinion. Like, is this true? Is this real? And the way that they factor that in is great.
And Fathery, sorry to interrupt your summary because it's awesome so far, but doesn't it also have to do with the fact that it's a different actor and the voice performance might have been different or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's probably part of it. But like, instead of Jeffrey Hunter, it's like a guy with like makeup on his face to like show off how injured he was. He had heroically tried to rescue some cadets and got all burnt up and scarred from Delta radiation. So it turns out, hey, no one even asked y'all to come to Starbase 11. So what the hell are you doing here? Everyone's confused. Kirk is like, well, Spock said we got a message to come here. But next thing you know, Spock is back up on the Enterprise with Captain Pike, and they're hauling ass for Talos 4. The only death penalty still existing in the Federation is if you go to Talos 4, you're effing dead. They'll kill you. I almost said the F-bomb there. So the Enterprise is hauling ass to Talos 4, and no one knows what's going on. Spock is just ordering everyone like, yes, we have like a good reason for doing this. I can't explain it right now. He has like taken over control of the computer. He's being bad. Spock is being bad. No one's really sure why. Captain Kirk and Commodore Mendez try to follow on a shuttlecraft, and they run out of power, but Spock lets them on board the Enterprise because he's not that bad. He doesn't want anyone to die. It's really confusing. No one knows, why is Spock mutinying? Why is he taking over the ship? Why did he kidnap Captain Pike? And they have to have like a little trial because they can't stop the ship. Spock has everyone locked out. But they have like a little trial because they have 3 active command officers with the Commodore, with Captain Kirk, and with Captain Pike. Even though he's in the wheelchair and all unable to speak and everything, he's still on the active duty roster because they didn't have the heart to retire him. So they do like this little trial, and Spock maneuvers the Commodore into asking him why is he doing this in a way that allows him to present evidence. And he starts playing this footage of that unused pilot, the cage. And everyone's like, where are you getting this? And Spock's like, don't worry about it. But he basically shows them that episode. He's like, you have to watch this. And then you'll understand why
he shows them the episode.
And not only does this 2-part story like recap the cage, but also so does my t-shirt.
Oh, really? Let's see.
Oh, wow.
What? Oh my goodness. That's epic. That's very cool.
Everyone on this t-shirt is dead now. All these actors are dead.
Oh,
Sean Kenny, the second Pike, is still alive, but
he's not on the shirt.
On that t-shirt. He's not on the shirt. That's true.
But anyways, I don't know how much into like recapping the cage we need to go into because we just covered that.
No. Do you guys think it's fair that we just kind of say that, like, go watch the cage for the recap of the tapes? Yeah. Okay.
The short version of that is Captain Pike visited this world, Talos, 4 years earlier, where these aliens, the Telosians, they wanted to keep him there and create like this perfect fantasy life for him with this woman that he could be in love with named Vina. And they did seem to like have like some chemistry, but he had to like leave her in the end because he wasn't about that made up fantasy life. However, now that like he's been like denied his life as like the heroic Starfleet officer or fleet captain or whatever he was at this point, he is like kind of saved by Spock because he can go here and like be restored and still have like that happy ending with Vina. And it turns out the Commodore wasn't even there. He was just an illusion. It was all just like a distraction from the Telosians to basically, I guess, like keep Kirk busy while Spock was bringing Captain Pike to him. And the Telosians were like, okay, like we got Pike. His boy took care of him. Spock took care of him. Starfleet seems to be okay with it, so you're free to go, Kirk. And he just goes about his business, and that's the end.
And the Telosian says, "May you find your way just as wonderfully as Captain Pike has," and he does in the Nexus. So it all turns out great.
Yeah, but he kind of rejects that. He like in Star Trek Generations, he kind of chooses like, I'd rather go die on a rickety bridge than have like this fake world where jumping over this ravine with my horse is a lie and not true.
Somehow there's an imposter in the chat who's posing as me. So Starfleet Boy of the chat asks, would it be cool if Sean Kenny came back for Strange New Worlds? I think it would actually be cooler if he came back in Star Trek Discovery and did like a Captain Kirk Nexus thing where he decides to leave the Telosian imprisonment, or the Telosians are somehow able to, by the time of season 3 of Star Trek Discovery in the distant future, are able to actually, give Pike his like form back, but it's an older Pike, and Sean Kenny could play him. So I'm standing for Sean Kenny right off the bat, Starfleet Boy. That was weird, guys. Sorry.
Cool.
I don't know why. I feel strongly about it.
I mean, Sean Kenny is like 90 years old. if he wants to come back, okay.
Is he 90? Is that how old you are from 1944? Because I feel like that's not.
He wasn't born in 44. He's not. There's no way. He's not 22 in this episode. He's older than that.
Sean Kenny was born in March of 1944, according to IMDb. And for those of you who,
I'm looking it up on Wikipedia, and it says he was born December 29th, 1929. You might have the wrong Sean Kenny, or I might have the wrong Sean Kenny.
I think you have the wrong Sean Kenny, Fathery, because I clicked on him straight from maybe IMDb has him wrong, but he's been in Star Trek more than once. He comes back in Arena and A Taste of Armageddon, where he plays a character named.
I'm looking at Sean Kenny, the theater designer, not the actor.
There you go. That guy's 90. That guy's 90, but still, not.
Okay. He was pretty young then. They did a good job with that makeup because he looks like all old and crippled.
In 2016, he's in some kind of production called Star Trek Captain Pike, and he actually plays the Commodore character of Commodore DePaul from, I guess, the other episodes that he was on in TOS. So he didn't get to play Captain Pike in that either, which not really. So that's interesting. Sean Kenny, give Sean Kenny a cameo as an aged Pike, I say.
I think Anson Mount
76.
Pike from now on.
Anson Mount's great. Yeah, it's true. Anson Mount is Pike, and we're gonna get Strange New Worlds. Oh my gosh, that's all I could think about.
Comparing Jeffrey Hunter's Pike to Anson Mount.
I always liked Jeffrey Hunter's Pike, but I kind of like the Anson Mount Pike more now.
Well, that was a really great episode summary. It actually brought me back into the moment. Like I kind of relived the episode. So thank you for doing that. It lived up to my expectations, at least. I hope everyone else. But so what do you? Let's get into brass tacks, as Captain Kirk would say. Like, what do y'all think? Like, I guess I'll put you on the spot first, Robbie.
I dislike this two-parter, which is probably an unpopular opinion, and that's okay. I do like a lot of parts of it, like the loyalty Spock has to Pike, which will probably be developed in Strange New Worlds. And I like so. It's better than Shades of Grey, which is also a clip show.
I like that. Does this count as a clip show, guys? Like, is it because it's like more than it's like only one episode, right? Like a clip show goes over like it like reminds you of what happened. I guess it is a weird clip show. I guess you're right about that.
It's a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
I think the first 20 minutes are great. You know, with Spock taking control of Enterprise.
Yeah, that was really good. How he's able to like. I really wish that there's some kind of explanation for tapes that happens in Strange New Worlds, because I have a feeling we're not going to get tapes, or we might. I don't know.
We still use tapes now. Like there's like some like like high end storage.
You're absolutely right. Actually, I should know that. As a technologist, I should actually know that. That's 1,000% correct. It's true. We do still use tape drives to store large amounts of data on. Ooh. Do you guys hear the sounds of the bridge?
Yes.
We have a question from Shishangro. Okay, guys, help me out. What prompted Spock to do this now, and how did he coordinate with the Telosians? I don't know if that's answered. Do you have an answer for that?
That is not answered. But yeah, apparently he found a way. I think that's not impossible for someone as clever as Spock to like figure out a way to like contact the Telosians, or maybe they contacted him. I kind of like to believe like it was Spock's idea. This is all like something like Spock wanted to do for Captain Pike. That does make Strange New Worlds even more like something I'm anticipating, because yeah, like I definitely want to see more like the Spock Pike relationship in that show, and it's like the foundation, like this loyalty and this relationship.
Yeah.
Triangulum Audio Studios points out that The Cage never aired until '89, which is true. However, the events of The Cage would have been known because of this episode, and so I wonder. Like, we find out some interesting things. Like, for example, it establishes that the events of The Cage took place 13 years before this episode takes, or this adventure of theirs takes place?
No, 11 years.
Spock's is 13 years.
Spock served.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or no,
11.
you're right. 13. Yeah, Spock. Okay, yeah, Spock served with Pike a total of 11 years, but these specific events are 13 years earlier. Yeah, you're right.
In the same scene, by the way, they're shocked at the recreation of like the actual events. Like they're shocked the detail like of that bridge scene, like when they're like zooming into the bridge scene or whatever. And I'm like, but just moments before that, the camera, the viewer panned out in a dramatic way on Commodore Mendez and Captain Kirk when they were trying to take control of the Enterprise. Remember, like Spock's watching them from his quarters, and like it actually like zooms out. I'm like, why would it do that? Like it should be a static image, like in a corner somewhere, like surveillance videos would be. But I don't know.
The other thing is that like the Telosians like edited all of this together. And they're like, okay, like we're gonna like cut from this shot to like this shot, and like, I wonder if like they even like put like the music in there. They have like the score in there.
It's the Cage, the Telosian cut. Release the Telosian cut. That's like the new hashtag. So that's what
Spock
it
must have planned it.
There was definitely back to Shishan Girl's question. Like there is definitely some kind of planning going on, and I think that like the Telosians, what's also really cool is that now that we have the events of Star Trek Discovery, the relationship between Spock and the Telosians is deeper than we had previously thought. You know what I mean? Like he had obviously sought their help in the past as well, so he was still in contact with them, and it's possible that they've been in communion this whole time, planning a good outcome after Pike's accident, actually planning a good outcome for him.
I also want to just like if we can take like Discovery and Strange New Worlds into context, and like how much like I love the Anson Mount Pike, and I think he embodies like so many of the great qualities of like what you want in Star Trek and in your captain. He's like got like the best of Kirk and the best of Picard and all of that, and he can potentially be the best captain ever, like a perfect representation of the franchise. But I love if we add all of the stuff up chronologically. You have like the Cage and Discovery and Strange New Worlds, and then the original series. You get the story about like this guy who has to do something very difficult in Discovery, where he like knows his future. He knows he's going to get like this tragic ending, and he still goes and does the right thing anyway. And eventually he's rewarded with Spock, saving him. And that idea of like when the Telosians put him in hell, and they're like from a fable you heard as a child. And we know like in Discovery, like his parents were, what do you call it when like you're like a professor of religion, theologist?
Theologist, right.
His dad was like a theologist, and like talking about like all these different religions and stuff. And so like he had like this very like Judeo-Christian belief of like the afterlife of like heaven and hell. And like kind of like going to that wheelchair is kind of like knowing like I'm going to hell. I know like this hellish fate that awaits me. But he goes and does the right thing anyways, and then he's rewarded by Spock taking him to Talos 4, and basically like he's in heaven the rest of his existence.
Yeah, it's a really great tie-in.
It's a sweet ending, but I'm still sad that Anson Mount's Pike is going to end up in a wheelchair. And he's
it's worse fate than that even. Yeah, it's a worse fate than that even, because he essentially is the way I like the way McCoy puts it. It's like he's trapped in his mind, like completely. Like he can only express with a yes or a no, basically in a binary fashion. That was really a heavy. But that's the thing that I really liked about this episode now. When I was younger, I actually used to like, when it would come on in syndication, I remember I would actually like be like, oh man, it's this episode again. It's a two-parter. What? Like, I get like really upset because I was like, it did feel like a little slow and stuff like that. But I definitely have a different appreciation for it now. And a lot of that is due to Star Trek Discovery Season 2. But also I have to give credit to the Kelvin films, because they picked up on something that I've always wondered about, not always, but I've recently wondered about, which is we had the Captain Pike and Captain Spock relationship, but what about the Captain Pike and Captain Kirk relationship? There's evidence in this episode of something between them as well. Like he calls him Chris by his first name, which implies a familiarity or a friendship. You don't just go around calling anyone by their first name, at least not as we've seen before. And he does have a great deal of compassion for Captain Pike, and he even like has like some kind of like connection with like how he's like, he makes that statement about, you know, Spock would be loyal to any of his captains. And there's just this like dynamic throughout that I never picked up on before, that I think the 2009 films woke me up to by having that Kirk Pike relationship being the prominent factor in those. So I love that, and I thought like that was also blended into this rewatching. And it's weird how this episode now all of a sudden has all these new like facets to it, which I thought was really exciting.
Doesn't he say he only met him one time? Like
I don't know if he says that. I didn't catch that. But it seems like that one time was meaningful. Maybe it was like at a conference or something, and they became, you know, dear friends or whatever. And
you know what I think it was? I think it was like the passing of the torch. I think it was Pike got promoted to fleet captain. I wish they just like called it Commodore. I guess they didn't want to have like two Commodores. They should have made, you know what? They should have made Commodore Mendez an admiral, and then have like Pike be promoted to Commodore. Because I don't know what the hell a fleet captain is. It's like some made up thing. But anyway, I think that's where they met. Was they like he got promoted to fleet captain, but then he had to leave the Enterprise, and Kirk comes on to be the new captain of it. And they shake hands and pass the baton, and then it's all about Kirk.
I would think that like just in general, there's a debriefing, and it may have taken several days. I mean, like Captain Pike was the captain of the Enterprise from 13 years ago up until when? Like how long was he the captain?
Up until 2265 was when Kirk took over. As established by Icheb in Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't realize we don't get that answer till Voyager. That's cool.
Yeah, Kirk's 5-year mission was from 65 to 70. And Spock served with Pike for 11 years. So that was 2254 is supposed to be when the cage takes place. So that's 13 years.
And Father, it's safe to assume if he was the fleet captain that the Enterprise may have been part of that fleet. And so there may have been a lot of at least subspace communications between Captain Kirk and Captain Pike as well. So I think there is like there's like a lot of like it is not on canon, it's not on screen, but there's a lot of evidence in that for me. There's a lot of evidence in that, Chris, and just like circumstantial stuff. I know you want to see it. We'll see it. We're gonna see it.
Relationship.
We're gonna see it because I heard a rumor. I heard a rumor that Captain Kirk, or rather Lieutenant Kirk, or something like that, will appear on Strange New Worlds, and that he's going to be very controversial. He might be fluid in his sexuality.
Yeah,
so
but that was a made up story from
it was made up.
Websites. Yeah,
how can they know so early on?
I don't know. I fell for it. I thought it was from a trusted source. Oh well.
No, that was like
always trusted sources.
Is that just wishful thinking on my part? A fluid sexual Kirk. What's that?
There was people wanting to like.
That's more slash fiction. We've got a lot of comments. Do you guys mind if we take a minute to peruse through some of the comments here? We have the Telosian cut. Yes. Let's see here. I think if memory serves, from Discovery makes this episode make more sense and better. Spock may have a lasting connection after visiting Talos again with Burnham. Yep, we agree. I think I agree anyways, at least.
I agree with that.
It could be that the damage to his brain precluded the use of computer communications. That is absolutely correct. There's definitely a logical reason that you can find for that, because every injury, right, is unique, and so every injury has its own unique set of challenges. I can't help but laugh a little bit because of the episode of Star Trek Lower Decks where they go to the farm and there's other people with very similar conditions as Captain Pike's and in the same predicament. So that was a funny gag on Lower Decks.
And they wear Hawaiian shirts on their chairs.
Kirk was allergic to Retinax. It's true. That's why he wears glasses, and then he sells his glasses to the broker that will eventually carry it to the shop that it ends up in the shop that McCoy purchases from, which is part of the, what is that called? The bootstrap paradox?
According to Doctor Who.
Or Doctor Who, okay. Bootstrap.
Am I...
What's that?
Sorry. Am I right in saying that Burnham and Spock have both committed mutiny?
Yes.
Yes. And they might be the only, because Burnham was supposedly the only person who's ever committed mutiny, like in Starfleet, right? Like she was the the first one.
TOS in the season 3 episode Tholian Web, they when they go on board the Defiant and they see all the bodies and everything, and they're like, it looks like a mutiny, and Spock says, "Oh, there's never been a mutiny in Starfleet history." Like, you just did a mutiny 2 years earlier. So did your sister.
He's right on a technicality because he isn't actually charged for mutiny.
Yeah, so it's like expunged from the record.
And then he's also right on a technicality because he's technically not supposed to talk about the Discovery either. So it actually it actually makes sense.
Yeah. Even though everyone knew about Michael Burnham to the point that like there's prisoners on the prison shuttle, we're like, oh, the mutineer.
Can I just say that I like another thing that raised my esteem of Star Trek Discovery is that at Burnham's trial there are 3 commanding officers, which Spock states in this episode are the necessary minimum to have a court-martial for mutiny.
Yeah, they should have had that bell thing.
Very cool.
Bell,
ding ding, the little bell
and ring. Yeah.
Robbie, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, sorry, I keep interrupting people, and I apologize.
No, it's okay. That's part.
I need to be interrupted. Yeah. I'll just like talk all over everyone if you don't interrupt me.
Let's get Gary to. Gary, you need to interrupt us now. By the way, nice haircut.
I didn't have a haircut for like 3 months.
It looks different. It looks different.
I just realized that they're both in Scotland.
Oh, that's right. We have 2 Scottish guests here.
Well, Scottish residents.
Let's go with that. So,
by the way, Robbie, since you were curious earlier on Twitter, Lumberjack Spock wears a kilt when he is chopping wood outside.
That's great.
Yep.
Is this more of your fan fiction?
Yes.
Okay.
My boy. Actually, he was my husband.
Yeah, he's your husband. Why'd you demote him to boyfriend? He's your husband.
It's true.
Not just that. Robbie, you can back me on this. If you wear a kilt, you're not allowed to wear underwear.
Yeah, that's true.
What? You're not allowed to?
If you're a kid. We have a friend who served in the military in Scotland, and he told us this. You're not allowed to wear underwear with a kilt. And actually, they have a mirror in the military. They have a mirror that they go and they check if you're keeping up with the tradition.
I mean, it makes sense from the perspective of like it's probably very like nice to have wind down there, like air. Like it makes sense to have like a nice experience, like from that experience. But so you're telling me that the Queen's guard at Balmoral Castle have no pants on under their kilts?
I'm not sure if they have. I never peeked, but.
But you're saying by law or by some sort of like rule. That's
based on the tradition. They shouldn't.
Fascinating. That must be very fun.
But yeah, she shouldn't go back.
Well, now we know another fact about Lumberjack Spock. When he wears his kilt, he's not
we know
wearing
something
any.
about Scotty because we
know about
Scotty in a kilt.
Oh yeah,
Scotty's at Spock's funeral naked under his kilt. Is that what's happening? Wow.
Oh my God. I feel I interrupted with totally worst topic ever.
let's go back.
It is for After Dark. It's not for Starfleet, boy.
It's true. Well, this is Hangover: The Next Generation. Sometimes we sometimes call it that, but I feel pretty good. I mean, I've got my water here, everybody, just in case you're wondering. There's no vodka or anything like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good that you're feeling good.
We have let's see here, Robert. Sorry, we all interrupted you this time. Were you going to say something other than?
I was just going to say that Spock's a liar. Not in this episode, but because of Discovery. He lies about the mutiny in the episode of the Defiant.
He is lying, but like what I want to know is, okay, so in this episode they established that Vulcans don't lie or can't lie.
Yeah,
but that's a lie.
Pure Vulcan. That's a lie, right? Like I thought.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't lie in this episode because Bones asks him, "Where are you He asks him, "Where are you taking us?" or something like that. Or no, he asks, "I can only think of one person that's in that shuttle, and it's Kirk." And Spock's just silent throughout it all. He just ignores him, so he never lies.
It's true. And he definitely I think Spock sees it as sometimes if you're ordered to, right? Like in the military, you may be ordered to keep something secret. Sure. It's not a lie necessarily. It's more like, I don't know, an omission, as Spock would say. That's the only thing I can think of, like that would defend such a thing, right? Because like Saavik says you lied, and he's like, no, it was an omission, and he kind of skirts around it.
Exaggeration. He exaggerated.
Yeah.
But I think with Vulcans, I think like they can lie. They just, as part of like their ethics, part of their like morality, they choose to be like devoted to the truth and honesty.
Yeah, they sugarcoat it with an exaggeration, right? Instead of calling it a lie.
I mean, like Tuvok went undercover and joined the Maquis. So he's probably telling some lies when he did that. Like when they meet Janeway in the Delta Quadrant, and Chakotay is like, I don't know, Tuvok, you think we should like beam over there? And he's like, yeah, we can probably trust this Federation captain. And they get over there and he like double crosses him. He's like, you son of a bitch. That's some dishonesty.
Ian says Spock actually knew Captain Kirk, Captain Pike, Mirror Universe Kirk, Kelvin Universe Kirk, and Captain Picard. Spock is everywhere. It's true. Like Spock.
And how many of them did he mind meld with? I mean,
all of
God,
them.
He's a mind melding slut. He's out of control with his mind melds.
By the way, Shishan Girl, thanks for liking my theory. I have another theory that Kelvin Kirk is the Uber version of all of them, because basically old man Spock downloads his entire like memory bank into Captain Kirk. So now Captain Kirk of the Kelvin timeline is like the Uber Kirk. So he's like an ultimate Kirk in a way. He's kind of, already more. He has an advantage over all the other Kirks. And I think
that's a movie for you too. The
ultimate
that is another.
Kirk. He's the ultimate Kirk. he just throws Nexus out of his hands at people. He's just like, like he's just like, you're going in the Nexus. You're going in the Nexus. Like you're going in the Nexus. I don't know. Nexus man. I don't know. That's a little silly. Let's see here. That guy did get around. Yes. Spock both ways. I'm hoping that we get the passing of the torch between Pike and Kirk, that we got them teamed up for Kirk's first mission. I would like to see the show Strange New Worlds either not end. So like this is a sad ending for Captain Pike. I would like to see the show Strange New Worlds give us a happy ending, because it's the most recent show in production about this character. And then you can always say that like the epilogue is the Menagerie.
Yeah, I think like the logical ending, like you do like 7 seasons of this show and then end it with Kirk coming on board, and Pike is promoted to fleet captain. They meet, they shake hands. He's like, the ship's all yours, and you get this guy. And Spock is like, yeah, I'm going to stay on the ship with the new captain. Let's go play chess.
Daniel says there was an issue of the DC Star Trek comic that was about Kirk's promotion assignment to the Enterprise, and there's a Pike Kirk scene in very close to what Father was postulating. Oh, cool.
What comic is that?
Yeah,
Daniel?
I'd like to know if you could find out. because I love the comics and I love to read them. So that'd be cool.
He said it was one of the DC ones. There was also when Marvel had the license after that, and in the 90s, I guess it was a series called Star Trek Early Voyages, and it was all Pike and Number One and Spock and that crew and their adventures.
Oh, cool. Mutiny runs in the Sarek family.
Yeah. Also like Cybok. Cybok hijacked the ship too.
They're all like rebels. The rebel family Sarek. Sarek was a radical in Vulcan society that must have rubbed off on his kids. This is true. I mean, he is a radical in Vulcan society. I mean, he's even, and we see a little bit again. These are the things that like I think where Discovery just like really shines is like some of the connection points to TOS are really nice, like showing that like strife that they had to go through as a family was interesting.
And it's only 2 weeks until season 3.
Cybok also took over Starfleet ship, so that's all 3 kids. It's true. I forgot about that he actually hijacks the ship in much the same fashion and takes it to Shakari. That's right. That's
seems like a family tradition in the Spock's family, like taking over ships and betraying people and these sort of things.
Hidden siblings and secret siblings and hijacking ships is like what they're all about. Like they're all
crazy.
Triangular Steer says I'm heading to Scotland. It has been a dream of mine to go to Scotland. I hope Gary continues to live there just a little bit longer. Who knows where he'll go, and then I will come and visit. And then I'd love to go to the Scottish Highlands, and I'd love to go to the Hebrides, and I'd love to listen to the Hebrides Overture while I'm at the Hebrides. And I would love to try haggis, even though it repulses me, the idea of it. But
there's vegetarian haggis. That's really nice, actually.
I love it.
Very nice, very nice. So yes, I do. I'm a big fan of Scotland, and I will make sure to introduce you guys to my husband, Lumberjack Spock, and he and I will wear kilts for that meeting. So I promise to bring him with me. So real Scottish men wear nothing under the kilts. This is true. We just found this out.
Apparently, there's a kilt inspector.
There's a kilt. There's even a kilt inspector. That's right.
There's also a new TV series coming out next year. No, I'm just joking. Imagine that, and Benedict Cumberbatch plays the inspector.
Yeah, it's like he's like holding the mirror, the kilt mirror, like out in front of him, and that's like a poster.
Yeah,
I like this TMI regarding Scotty at Spock's funeral. It's just a paradox, not a bootstrap paradox. Thank you, Triangulum Studios. Spock does always lie. Wow, I'm a little behind. I'm so sorry. Let's see, where are we here? Let's catch up on the chat. I guess it's called Early Voyages, but the title got canceled before they had a chance.
Oh my, I had that comic once. I gave it away.
Well, it's true. It is. Anyways, so okay, we talked about Captain Pike and Captain Kirk. We talked about Captain Pike and Spock. I want to talk a little bit more about McCoy, which was surprising. And Robbie pointed this out on Twitter. What did you guys think of McCoy in this episode?
He's a classic Bones. He's
but he really defends
rough in all the right ways.
Yeah, that whole scene was really surprising.
Yeah, he's always about like compassion. So he's always like, give this guy a chance.
Did I get it right that there's 2 directors? Someone directed part 1, and then Richard Butler directed part 2. I forget who the part 1 director was. So that was interesting to me too. And I remember that happened a lot in television, but you forget about it because sometimes today. For example, I think the show,
Mark Daniels is the first one, and then the second one also Mark Daniels directed by.
No, it says at the end, it gives the credit on screen anyways to Robert Butler. That was the name.
Well, Robert Butler directed the cage footage.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty common. Like a lot of the other Star Trek shows, they would have like different directors for 2-parters. In fact, most of them did.
Mm-hmm.
Because they cycle like the directors in and out. So okay, I'm gonna be the director for the episode we're shooting now, and then okay, I'm done, and someone else comes in and it does the next one.
Very cool. Daniel is saying that the comic that he was referencing was mentioned was actually 1985's annual, if I remember correctly. So
the 1985 annual. That was a good year.
I am also looking forward to seeing Ethan Peck's portrayal of Spock, especially after watching this episode. I actually think his performance is pretty great, even more than I had previously attributed. I just like Ethan Peck in general, but I thought again he like had some interesting connections to this episode. Very, very cool. So Robbie, what other things did you not like about this episode other than it was a clip show?
Well, I think what you said that was quite slow, and I found it a bit dull. And it seems like it was a filler episode.
Like like you felt like it was just made because they had this footage from the cage, and so they thought we can't, we spent the money on it. Let's spend less money, and so for the price of one episode we get two episodes essentially.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
just how it felt for me.
I
I
have
can
to
vibe with
agree.
that too.
Even though I watched the episode a long time ago, but every time I think about the Menagerie, it's basically the cage rehashed with a new. Don't put me on full screen.
I do love the cage though.
No, the cage is brilliant. I think this episode, if you exclude the cage part, which I guess they had to throw in there just to, give a bit of a context between the characters themselves, because Captain Pike, until this episode, if the cage is still unaired, people probably wouldn't have heard of Captain Pike, and they probably have to give a bit of a context. What was happening? Why Talos 4 was forbidden, and what was happening with Captain Pike, and why Spock was planning to bring him back to Talos 4. I think if this episode wouldn't have, this character wouldn't have needed any explanation. The Menagerie would have been just a one-part episode. I don't think it would have been a double-parter. That's me thinks. After watching it a long time ago. I don't know what you think about these guys. Would the cage or would the Menagerie could have been just a single part episode if they don't have to explain Pike, or would have been still a two-parter?
I think it would still have to be a two-parter.
Yeah, I don't think they would have done this story if they didn't have that cage footage. I think the story was created just to be economical. Like, oh, we have like this whole episode shot that we can't air because this isn't a show about like Captain Pike. It's a show about Captain Kirk. We can't air this, so how can we use it? We shouldn't just like let it sit there and go unused.
Mm. So just like as long as they put the effort in it, just like slice it up and at least showcase it. That's like, hey, we done this before, and this happened.
I could imagine it's stretched to imagine because I think that having the footage probably played a huge part of like, oh, we have this footage, we should do something with it. I think Steve is right. TOS season 1 was massively over budget. I don't know about that, but I know that it was over budget. Was it massively over budget? That's terrible. It's mismanaged. No wonder it went in the tubes.
I know it was an expensive show. This is one of the most expensive shows on the air.
And this was definitely a way to save money. But I could imagine if Gene had written the concept for the cage down somewhere, that it could have somehow snuck its way into Star Trek overall, but I think it would have been completely different from this. Like, I think we could have gotten a Captain Pike or a Commodore Pike cameo or a character named Commodore Pike somewhere along the line. I think Pike would have survived somehow.
But that wasn't the idea that like Pike was on the Enterprise and then like he left and like Kirk took over. Like that idea only existed because they wanted to use this footage. And so they're like, oh yeah, this was just like several years ago. So I don't think they would have ever. Like they couldn't even get Jeffrey Hunter to come back for any of the stuff. So I don't think that we ever would have got Pike through anything else. And I actually am glad that it worked out the way it did, because it gave us a little bit more backstory with Spock, and we got to see like a little bit of a younger Spock. We got to see like all the cool stuff. The Orions came from the Menagerie, because the cage was never aired.
And we never really seen Orions in TOS, right? Did we?
No, but it's mentioned.
There's another. Well, we see an Orion disguised as an Andorian in Journey to Babel, and we see an Orion ship, and then we see another Orion girl in season 3 in Whom Gods Destroy.
Oh, plus also in the animated series.
Yeah, then the animated series. And then on Enterprise, and then on Discovery, and then on Lower Decks. There's Orions all over the place now.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that this episode was like the source of the Orions from an air date perspective. So that's really interesting too.
And also from an air date perspective, this gives us Starbase 11, which we'll see again in Court Martial, even though Court Martial was made before this. It also gives us like our first Commodore. I think it's the first time we see different insignia on their uniform.
Isn't Starbase 11 the starbase that Captain Pike says that they're going to, when they're really going to Talos in Discovery, if memory serves?
Could be. They're close to each other.
Right.
They
so
say
I
it's
think
like only like a few light years away or something at some point.
So Starbase 11 comes up in Discovery again. Another nice connection to. I just love all these connections to Star Trek Discovery, and it's really cool.
Is that the first time we hear about Starfleet?
Oh yeah, it might. Yeah, it's the first time.
It might be the first. Also, I just want to say that I'm dying to get the dress uniform that Captain Kirk is wearing.
It's the first dress uniform.
It's the first dress uniform on air too, and it's beautiful. Like I was in the HD transfer, you can really see like how gorgeous it is, and I'm sure it's available. I don't know if Anovos makes it or some. I'd rather support someone who's independent who knows how to sew and stitch, but but I really want.
If you don't mind buying it from somewhere in China, and it'll cost like $35, I can get you some good. And get you some good Starfleet
I feel like I
uniforms.
want to be tailored. I want to be fitted. Will they do that for me? Will they take my measurement?
If you like fly to Beijing or wherever the hell she is, she'll make it.
No, I'll give her a shot. Oh, if it's a person who's actually making it, yeah, I'll give her a shot because she'll probably ask for my measurements, which is cool. So I can take them and send them to her, which is good.
Do you prefer
I want that dress uniform badly. I love it. And Spock's too. The blue version's cool too. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Do you prefer the green or the blue one?
Oh, that's great music. Sound effect to go along with my thinking. Is that the heartbeat from the? Am I just hearing things?
Oh, no, that's actually me. I have my PlayStation on my TV, and that's my background on my PlayStation is the TOS sound effects.
Oh, nice. Well, I was thinking it was very appropriate. I was like, oh, I think I prefer the green one, but I like the arrangement of the badges or the awards that Spock has on his, because it's kind of the shape of a delta and it has like a little thing on it. But I think I prefer the green one because it not only has the gold braid in the center, but it also has gold trimming, just like this detail here, whatever this is, it has that gold piping or trimming on it as well. So I think I would prefer that. Oh my gosh, would you guys think I'm obnoxious if I wore that on every episode of our TOS discussion?
No, but Robbie needs to wear the red one that Scotty had.
Yes,
and
or if you like the red one.
With a kilt like Scotty.
But Robbie, we'll trust that you're not wearing pants in your on your kilt on the show. So, and you too, Gary, when you wear yours.
Now I feel bad bringing it up.
But
sorry,
which did you guys like better? I'm curious now. The blue, the red, or the green one?
I don't know. They're all.
I prefer the blue.
I prefer the blue too.
We should all work on getting our dress uniforms for like a very special future episode of Starfleet.
Finale.
I'm making it audience. If anyone listening to this has the dress uniform, please send a picture of it because I'd love to see how it looks on you. It'd be very cool. But yeah, that was one of the standout things. Sorry to I went on a dress uniform tangent there, but Triangulum Studios, I think I already posted this, but I'm posting it in because I like it when people agree with me. So thank you for agreeing with me. Earlier, I think this was a masterful example of how the directors and writers were in tune with the material. I agree with that. We had, let's see here. There's a book series called These Are the Voyages by Mark Cushman. It's got loads of great facts about the series. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out. What was the Batgirl thing?
Oh, she played the Orion in Whom Gods
Oh,
Destroy. What was her name? Yvonne Craig? Is that or Yvonne
I
something?
think so.
I'll Google
Oh, what
it.
happened? Robbie just fell off
Yeah,
the
Yvonne
stream.
Craig. I was right. Yeah. Oh no,
Robbie, if you're out there in subspace, we hope your battery didn't die. Robbie joins us on a phone, so that's happened before on Starfleet Boy where someone's battery died. There we go. Here's Robbie. Whoa.
What happened?
Well, I think I found a picture of Robbie right here. If you wanna let me share it.
Let's see. Okay, that's really crazy. I love it.
Now,
I like
that
his
is the best dress uniform ever.
the red one. Can you pull up a more frontal shot of it, because I only see that it's red. Like see if you can find us a better.
I'm
more
not gonna Google Scotty kilt upskirt.
or
No,
no
I
frontal. And
not
it's
gonna
Scotty
happen.
dress uniform front. Okay, you guys make it show, and I'm gonna go find a
Oh my
proper photo
Actually,
of the dress.
oh,
uniform.
I
I'll
will
be right
send
back.
I will send this to you, but oh gosh, I found a picture of Scotty himself, like Jimmy Doohan wearing a kilt.
Yeah, there's a picture of him when he's older. He's actually like
Yeah.
wearing that. It's like the same kilt from the show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I actually just found it. When he comes back, I'll throw it up on the screen. But about this episode, if
You can actually still share it. The AI does it to just share it and it'll come up. But anyways.
Oh, okay. Well, let me share it. But while I'm pulling that up, I just want to say that I feel like I'm probably going to be in the minority here, but I like the Menagerie parts 1 and 2 more than I like the Cage, and there's a reason for it. Is I like the Cage. I think it's like a cool little piece of science fiction. Yeah, here's James Doohan rocking the kilt. But I like the Cage a lot, but I never thought it was as good as the other pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, because it doesn't have the character stuff. It doesn't have like the Kirk Spock performances and like that relationship and that character. There's something missing when I watch the Cage. I don't really feel that way about like Number One or that Yeoman or Pike. They don't have like those same type of like energy and dynamics that we saw with the original series. And maybe a little bit of it with like the Doctor making him a martini, but even that it falls short to me when you compare that to Dr. McCoy and Captain Kirk. And the Menagerie takes all that, the concepts and the aesthetics and the fun stuff like the Orion slave girl and the big head Telosians, all that stuff in the Cage, but it puts that in a story that is very much about the TOS characters and is very much about Spock and Kirk and those things that I really like about the original series. So, you know, if I'm rewatching the original series with someone, I most of the time I just skip the Cage because I'm like, well, we're just going to see most of that footage in the Menagerie. So
that's the funny thing is, I keep forgetting about the When No Man Has Gone Before, the second pilot.
Yeah.
For me, Star Trek it starts with Cage, and the second pilot is basically like somewhere between the Man Trap and the Cage, because there's still like a bit of a gap between the two episodes in terms of aesthetics and how the show feels. So but I wouldn't. I'm not missing. I'm not disregarding the original series, the Cage itself. When I think about the original series. I always think that, hey, that's how it started, and I'm glad that that episode is there, even though it's, it was unaired and everything. And I don't really rewatch the Menagerie as the equation shows at the moment, but I'm not sure where I was going with this, but that's a cool picture.
I distracted you. I'm so sorry. This is the full frontal I was looking for of all the different kinds of
That's
dress
like
uniforms.
a Photoshop job, though. Like Kirk
It is because I think this
gray.
is from a YouTuber named Rob Prince. So shout out to Rob Prince. This is his title card. It's the closest thing I could find in a quick search that had them all in it.
Very like Beatles style.
But Captain Kirk is color corrected here to yellow. It should be green. So I do think that that's different. But I have a Steve. I want to give a shout out to Steve. He's an artist and he does great work. And Steve, I'm going to hit you up with a proposal for a commission now for Starfleet Boys. So if any of you guys, I don't know if you're still taking commission, Steve, but go check out Steve on Twitter. And I feel like you have an official website, so please give it in the comments, and we'll put it up here on the stream as well. And yeah, I'll hit you up.
Starfleet Boy, aren't you like drawing ships?
I am. I don't have
quite I need you to draw me a ship.
All right, which one?
I want an ambassador class USS Texas.
You got it. Done. Which the official ambassador's class, of course, the one that was aired.
Yeah, like the Enterprise C.
Not the prototype. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, registry number NCC 260302, I think. I have it all. I have it like the Starship Texas, like all like planned out.
All right, that's exciting. I'm also, so I have a couple of things that I'm working on. I'm a very old person, so I've done a lot of things throughout my life, but one of the things I wanted to do was be a Disney animator when I was young. So I was going to go to animation school and everything, and then digital animation came along and I wasn't interested at first, but I'm actually learning how to do digital animation. So Father, maybe I'll do your drawing, but I think I'd like to also practice doing an animation of the ambassador class, and maybe I'll make that
really cool.
All right, cool. So that'll be my first animation project of a starship as well. So that would be really neat to do. Thanks for that idea. Let's see here. We have some more stuff in the chats. I didn't like Majel in the cage. I loved her, but I do like her more as Nurse Chapel. Which Majel character do you guys like the most? Is it so? It would be number one, Nurse Chapel, and then Loxana, right? Are there any other characters that she played on Star Trek? Oh, and I guess the computer counts. Wow, so she's 4 characters. So of those 4 characters, who do you guys like the most of her performances? And that goes for you too, Triangulum Studios. Would like to know.
Loxana.
Loxana too.
I want to go with number 1, but because Loxana is like often like hated, I kind of want to go with her just to like balance out like all the hate the character gets sometimes. But y'all are repping her, so I'm gonna go with number 1.
I guess I'm gonna then rep for Nurse Chapel because I think both she and number 1 deserved more screen time and certainly deserved more of a story. Nurse Chapel would have been great to get more on. I like that in Star Trek: The Motion Picture where he's like, because she's Dr. Chapel and he's like, and I know Chapel's an MD now. I need a good nurse. Like he's just like, so it's cool that Chapel is the MD on the Enterprise, which is really nice. She became the chief medical officer until McCoy was. That's actually a story we don't really see. The same thing that happens to Decker kind of happens to to Dr. Chapel on the Enterprise in a way, right?
She comes back in Star Trek 4 briefly. We get a short glimpse of her.
But if I'm reading that correctly, if I'm remembering that scene correctly, it implies that that Dr. Chapel was the MD, was the main chief medical officer on the Enterprise.
I just thought of something. Majel Barrett played a bunch of characters in the animated series because all of the women characters in that show were voiced by Nichelle Nichols or Majel Barrett.
Yeah.
No way, I didn't realize that.
And Nurse Chapel shows up a ton in the she's probably in like more episodes, like a higher percentage of episodes in the animated series than in the original series.
I can't wait till our animated series rewatch. That's gonna be really cool to
be fun. I love the animated series.
In previous episodes, they call it United Earth Space probe agency. Also, one of the nice things about the callback to the Cage footage here is that we see that we see what 13 years ago was like. They call it the United Starship, which I think is the same thing. But I forgot that the settlers or the stranded settlers or whatever, they had been there for over 20, about 20 some odd years. And that I forget his name, but the young officer is stating that and we can get you back to Earth really quickly. We have time warp, which is not something that they use anymore. Or time we've got time speed or something like that. I forget what he says, but it's
I'm sure he said hyperdrive.
No,
sure he said.
Oh, he did
hyperdrive at some point in this. I think at the end when they're leaving Talos for I think Spock or Pike or something said something about the hyperdrive. Yeah, with the Cage they hadn't figured out the lingo yet, so it's not quite
the beginning of the whole thing.
It's true.
Did anyone?
They said time warp factor 7.
That's right. You're gonna say, did anyone
prefer the Pike bridge or the Pike uniforms or anything from the Cage?
I don't know if I prefer it, but I like seeing it, and I'm glad that we have a little bit of it on screen. I would like to see more of it. I think I don't want to talk about Axanar and all the controversy on it. I feel like that just finally went away. Whether that's cool for the fan film to want to use those type of uniforms. It would be cool if we could see them pop up somehow on Strange New Worlds at some point. I kind of wish we would have had something like that in Discovery, since we have all these different uniforms now. Uniforms are no longer uniform.
The Enterprise bridge is incorrect in Discovery.
Yeah, well,
it's colorful.
It got a refit. There was a couple of refits that happened.
It's in the gray area. Yeah, I was gonna say, is it incorrect or is it just unknown? This was just unknown to us previously. I do find it, Robbie, but in seriousness, I do find it hard to believe that you go from the Cage to Discovery and then back to TOS. That is it does take a stretch for me as well, but hey,
I'll back him up on this because Disco Enterprise does have a certain disco blue.
I think it's set, though. I love it.
I do think it's a beautiful bridge.
It's even worse than you said, because we have Q&A where Spock comes onto the Enterprise for the first time, which would have been before the Cage.
That's right.
It was the Disco Prize bridge, the Cage bridge. Then it came back to the Disco Prize.
Actually, you know what? This can be easily explained. The whole bridge thingy. It's basically the control room from the TARDIS, so you can change the desktop theme all the time that you.
That, or what we are seeing in TOS is a detailed projection created by the Telosians, and the real thing is the Strange New Worlds. That's what it really looks like.
Or just by the Cage, they fired Alex Kurtzman, and then in the original series, they hired him again.
I could have sworn this might also be just my wacky brain remembering things wrong, but I could have sworn that there was some kind of statement made by Anson Mount that he would like there to be a closer connection creatively or visually in the visual aesthetics to the original series if he agreed to do Strange New World. So I'm hoping that rumor is true, because I would like to, I think you can still keep it looking. I think that we've already done it, so why not just keep going and make it look different anyway. So I don't know.
A fun way to end it, wouldn't it, if they get to that original series style look? There's a big refit that they have to do to the Enterprise, and then it comes out looking like the TOS style. That'd be pretty cool. And then you have on board.
It's unanimous. Everyone likes Loxana Troy in the comments, so she's the favorite so far. But now I have to go and figure out all the characters that Majel played in the animated series. Now I'm curious about that. Ian does say I'd go with the computer since that appeared in TNG, DS9, and Voyager.
And Enterprise in one episode.
Oh, yeah?
Even in the 2009 movie, she gave her... That was her last appearance as the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the other connection aside from Spock.
Leonard Nimoy. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I like the voice of the computer in Tinker, Tenor, Dr. Spy, Last Chance to Be a Doctor, Get Going.
That was fun. My favorite line from the replicator was like, "Go make it yourself." When Janeway asked for coffee in Q2, and then you just reprogrammed the replicators to go make it yourself.
Sassy computer. Oh,
Yeah.
like when in the animated series and the Practical Joker, the computer turns into an asshole in that one too, and says all kinds of
that's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
I like the HD version updates of the Outpost and Shuttlecraft in the episode. Yes.
Yeah,
It would be good
they
if there was an
show
option to see the 60s effects.
And I like that the sky was purple on the planet on Starbase 11. I also like that it was a starbase on a planet, which was cool. Like not a space starbase, right?
That is actually a good question for all of you. I mean, I'm not the person who manages this podcast, but just a question out of curiosity. When you rewatch any of the episodes from the original series, you rewatch the HD version or the original version?
I have the original versions, but I watch the HD versions because I admittedly enjoy the effects more.
HD for me.
Like I have the Blu-ray set that has the unaltered version and also like the remastered both, but I almost always watch the remastered because it's streaming on Netflix and on CBS for us in the States, so it's just easier instead of like popping the disc in. It's easier to like go to the app and load up the episode I'm going to watch. However, I've watched the remasters I think more than the original at this point over like the last 10 years or so. So now I kind of feel obligated to go back and start prioritizing watching the original versions just because I haven't seen those as much lately.
I have to be really honest. I only watched the remastered. I think for on the episodes discussions that I've been in, I rewatched it I watched it first as with the original. I think, and that time they've been doing the remaster, but I don't think, and I still by this time, even though I appreciate the work and the effort that they put into it, but I still, if I rewatch it ever after maybe the S9, I will go back to the original.
Shout out to Sean from Trek on the Tube, who is doing reviews of the original series. And if I'm not mistaken, he watches both because he likes to compare the differences. And he has caught some really interesting differences. He says there's like slight, I think in the last video, let me see where he's at on his rewatch. I think he just did Miri was the latest. It was the latest episode. And he noticed little things like, for example, in the Harry Mudd episode, the remastered edition cuts Harry Mudd out of a whole scene. It's only like a second, or half a second of footage, but there are like subtle differences so that they could get a little bit more space time or special effects and stuff like that. So I would like to see it. I just don't have the time to watch them both. But honestly, I also can't remember what the original effects look like anymore because I've only seen, for this project.
I think he even pointed out that there was a microphone that he got on the original.
He found that. Yeah, it's true.
And then in remastered, they actually got rid of it. They just zoomed in a little bit more.
And I can't remember how to pronounce I think it's Yorgi's name, Yorgi Hillebrand. Oh. I'm so sorry if you're listening to this and I just butchered your name horribly, but he writes a lot of articles for
Hillebrand.
Yeah, Hillebrand. Thank you. He writes a lot of
Yogi, I think 49. Anyhow, sorry.
Is it X asterisk Scientia, which is the Starfleet, motto. And then he also does awesome Twitter posts about all his detail findings. So check him out online as well. So that's a cool thing that I like with people of the time to kind of dive into these things. It's like really neat, but I wish I had that time. One day, maybe I can devote my life fully to Star Trek, just as my hero Queen Elizabeth has devoted her life fully to her people. Is that correct? It's like some anti-monarchists might be upset at me right now. I apologize to you, anti-monarchist audience. But I also do believe in a free Scotland. Just FYI, I do think Scotland should have its independence. I'm not about the Queen being like an empress or anything like that. She's the queen of my heart, no matter what. Wow.
Where did we go from this?
That did not land at all. You guys are just staring at me. I feel pressured. I feel somehow like I've said something wrong. I apologize if I have. I agree.
I like the eyebrow lifting.
Loxana was true royalty, elevated every episode. It's true.
Yeah, Major could be the queen of Star Trek. She was often referred to as the first lady of Star Trek.
Well, both of them are accurate. She is amazing.
Oh, Stress Free K is here. I didn't even say hello. Hi, Stress Free K. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Stress Free K.
I know, and shout out to Alexandra and Stress Free K, who are both here for being there till the bitter end of our stream last night, where we ended as is for tradition on a silly debate. So that was really fun. So thanks for coming to our stream last night. Starfleet After Dark, which brings up another interesting subject. The scene that was the cage scene were cut out. Wait, I'm not reading that correctly, am I?
Oh, well, he's talking about the scenes that were shot for the cage that this episode cuts out. There's a few little things that they trim out for this.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Technically, the old school thinking on that was always that the cage isn't canon, but the Menagerie is. And like the footage that shows up in the Menagerie is canon. Like the stuff that they cut out, like I know one of the things they cut out is when sorry, my dog is being really loud right now.
That's okay. It's a puppy. That's okay. We have babies and puppies on the show. It's fine.
He's upset because Antonia just came home, but then like she went back outside, and he's like sad. He's like, "Why'd you leave me again?"
I kind of wish you named your dog Butler. I know that's not the name, but
well, my last dog had a Star Trek name, so this one has an Expanse name. I thought you would approve.
I did. No, I love Amos. That was very appropriate as well.
One of the things that they cut out was when Pike is talking about like it's just not right having a woman on the bridge. But
which I'm glad.
I don't want that to be canon. Like,
yeah, it's true.
Or like the other thing, like the bird creature that's in the cage.
We get the bird creature back though, right? In Lower Decks.
Well, it's a different.
We get more.
Creature.
Oh, okay.
Well, we the animated series.
Oh, that's right. We've got a wide variety of avians, though, in Lower Decks. I just realized there's been quite a few avians, which is exciting because they're not.
John Billingsley originally thought like Dr. Phlox was supposed to be kind of bird-like.
Ooh.
But the director was like, "What are you doing?" He tried to do bird squawks and stuff when they were shooting the first episode. And the director was like, "No, I don't know what you're doing, but stop! Don't do that."
Thanks for clarifying. Daniel's also specifically talking about the scene where young Spock was about to order the Enterprise to leave Talos and abandon Captain Pike. That was taken out because the director thought it made Spock look cowardly. That's interesting too. Yeah, I didn't mind. I didn't actually even realize that scene was gone. So I think it works well the way they cut it, at least for me.
Yeah.
Chris is here. Speaking of Chris, I like watching the HD version, seeing the ships out the window. HD all the way. I watch both versions.
We should rephrase that because the unaltered is available in high definition.
That's true. It's the remastered special effects that we're watching. Yeah,
true. So I would call it remastered or original, or remastered or unaltered.
I think Balance of Terror is one exception where I prefer the original effects versus HD when it comes to the look of the Romulan bird of prey. The warbird looks darker in HD because of the lighting. I'll make sure to try and watch that episode with its original footage just to see what you're talking about. That's cool.
That one is that next?
Next is The Conscience of the King.
Oh, I like that one too. Oh, it's so good. The original series season 1 is so good. And it's someone like Trek Lad hasn't figured out that like this is actually like the best season of Star Trek and not best first season of Star Trek and not Lower Decks, like he keeps saying.
Lower Decks is giving it a run for its money, though. I have to say, like, I agree with you that I wish we were further along. Yeah, I wish we were further along so that we could kind of wrap up our TOS discussions at the same time as Lower Decks so we could really truly compare. But so far, I agree with you. I've been enjoying overall every single episode of TOS, and in ways that and I'm glad I haven't seen some of these episodes in like 20 years because they feel new, almost new to me, you know, so it's kind of a neat.
Now, put this up against the first season of Enterprise or DS9 or Voyager and tell me like this isn't like a better first season, or certainly put it up against Next Generation's first season.
Yeah,
we're definitely going to have that conversation at the end of this first season because I think it's fair after having seen it, because I'll probably have finished Voyager season. No, I already finished Voyager season 1. What am I talking about? I just didn't remember it. That's a bad sign. Sorry, it's like the only first season. Yeah, so I've seen all the first seasons. That's good. Okay, good, Starfleet boy. Your mind is going, but you're fine in every other way. You've done a good job in every other way.
The animated series also has a very good first season.
I love how the remastered version give a couple of new beauty. Yes, it's true that it was lovingly presented. It is lovingly presented. I do think that the digital version of the Enterprise could be upgraded even more, actually, now that we've seen like, you know, current television effects. Like I feel like that it can get a third restoration, but I'd rather that money go to Deep Space Nine and Voyager being remastered and upgraded as well. Starfleet Boy is a 21st century loyalist to the British crown. I have a weird thing. Thank you, Robbie. I apologize then if I offended you. I know it's very controversial. I don't know why I love the Queen so much ever since I was a little kid. And actually, it's a weird thing, but I regularly have dreams with the Queen in them. She comes to console me and comfort me, and it's weird. I've been having these dreams since I was a kid, so I know this sounds really weird. I apologize if it sounds really weird, but I just love her. I don't know what it is. I think she, you know, but I also agree that the monarchies are all these old-fashioned ruling forms of government must evolve into the United Federation of Planets. I agree 100%.
Probably a different discussion for a different podcast.
So is there a queen in Star Trek? Like, would the head of state of Britain still be there? Like, has that ever been like? Has
Admiral Clancy?
No, like a queen. Like that was a good joke. Yes, wow. Robbie,
yeah, that's true. Royalty is not really present in Star Trek as a whole.
Now,
that's a good thing.
The colonists on Talos 4, the fake colonists, mention America.
Oh, come on. Did they mention it in one of the TOS episodes when they got the Declaration of Independence?
And there's still
Kirk
countries
was reciting it.
Regionally, there's still names of regions. Like I think they still refer to the region of France as France. I think Britain is still around.
Yeah, like
we know Florida somehow survives into the future. Like I don't know how that happens. We also know that like Earth may have been restored. The science is actually pretty advanced. We know that you can create duplicate Earths. Apparently, you know, someone can, but even on Earth, the weather's under control, and I think they've restored a lot of places to their pre-war state. That I think it's mentioned in somewhere in Star Trek that like Earth had been kind of formed into this like idyllic state at one point using technology in Star Trek. I don't know. I'll try to look up because it's only proper to post where you hear about where you know these things from. But I can't remember where it was mentioned. But I do remember there was a mention of Earth being restored to like an idyllic state because Florida maybe had gone away, and so maybe they filled in that laser trench in Florida as well. Maybe that's no longer around by TNG era that the Xindi did. Who knows? That's a lot of interesting questions. We'll have to have a Starfleet Boy After Dark, the state of Earth in Star Trek. I think that would be a good topic. Well, Wow. Anything else, guys, about this episode? Because we're going on almost an hour and a half for this discussion.
I think it's a great way to introduce someone to Star Trek if they don't mind sitting through a two-parter, because it does, like we were talking about, like it does like show so many cool different things. You get to see like cool Kirk and Spock stuff, cool Spock and McCoy stuff, Kirk and McCoy stuff, and that triangle is so important to the franchise. And you also get all the fun stuff from the cage. So that's why I say, like, just skip the cage and watch this.
I think you can. I think that you should watch. If you want to be a completionist, you have to watch everything. If you like Star Trek and you like to watch everything, then I definitely think so. But I agree with Father.
You should watch 100%. The cage last. You should watch all of the original series and then watch the cage. Which is like they put this out on, like, that's the order they put them in. You know, they always
I think you should watch it in air date order. If you don't know anything about Star Trek,
order. It aired in
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think if you don't know anything about Star Trek, you should watch it in air date order. Yeah. And wait. You got to wait like until you're finished before you can even start Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek Picard or Star Trek Lower Decks. No, I don't think that's fair. You can start anywhere you want to. It's totally fine. Did any of you guys get to meet Majel Barrett at a convention before she passed away in 2009?
No.
I did. No. I've not gotten to meet her at all, and I wish I
did
had.
Not. I've met her son. I've met Rod Roddenberry.
Very cool. Well, that's very nice. You met her son. And Gary, you haven't, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm too young.
Stress Free K and Sanju are SFB troopers. If you want to be an SFB trooper, let me know, and I will put you in the official Starfleet Boy trooper fan club. That's a great idea. Thanks. SFB troopers. That's like you could use the ABBA song. SFB trooper, lights are gonna find me, but I won't feel blue like I always do, 'cause somewhere in the crowd is you. Sorry. Father went away. Remastered all the way. I think season 2 overall is a better season than season 1 of the original series. I hope it gets better. That would be great. Something we'd said was funny.
Season 2 is really good too. I think I might like season 2 a little bit more than season 1. I go back and forth on it.
TOS is at its best when Gene Kuhn and DC Fontana are the main creative force. They are, yeah. I have to say they get like a lot of credit for making TOS what it is. I learned about them. Of course, growing up, you only hear about Gene Roddenberry, but yeah, it was great to dive deeper in and learn about them. What? LOL. I don't know what that was for. I don't know what I said. What did I say? Oh, it must have been the Queen stuff. Sorry again. Oh, yes, it was. Because someone put, there is the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
There is a queen in Star Trek. It's true. It is the Borg Queen.
It's a very good point.
Enterprise met the Borg Queen.
It's true. It's true. Shout out to the Warm Blanket podcast. Who, and I'm gonna, sorry Gary, I know you hate this, but
go say anything now?
No, I just wanted to
mean the spotlight.
Go listen to the Warm Blanket podcast. By the way, we also gave you a shout out last night on Starfleet Boy After Dark for the Alice Kriege episode. Great episode. But also all of your episodes are great. What number was I on Warm Blanket? Was I like number 3 or number 2?
You said 11, didn't you?
No, that's on Trek Lab.
Very, very beginning.
I was there early. Yeah, there's another. Robbie, now you got to go listen to my Warm Blanket episode, and also audience, please go listen to.
Let me check. I don't want to feel myself, but you were the second episode.
Oh, cool! I made it to number 2. Who was number 1? Was it Sean?
I think it was Sean.
That was him. Yes.
Well, he's number
4.
Well, he was demoted on this show. Robbie's now the new number 1. On this show, so Trek on the Tube's been devoted to number 2.
Oh, Toddy's great.
No, I know, I love Toddy.
I don't want to be part of your command structure. I'm just the Q. I just like show up and annoy you.
You don't actually annoy me. That's the thing. You're not doing a good enough job. Ruben, however, who's not here.
No, Ruben's the Q. Ruben is the Q.
Is the Q. Yeah, he knows exactly how to get to the most tender spots of Starfleet Boy's Soul. He knows where all the trigger points are.
What does that make me then? I'm kind of a computer glitch, I feel.
What's that?
What does that make me? I think because I'm a kind of a computer glitch.
No, in real life, you're all captains. Come on, or admiral, whatever you guys want to be. It's fine with me. But you were the original number one, Gary, and then you were also the original database one, and then database boy took your job. So people just keep taking your job. That's what happens to Gary?
I got used to it.
Gary, you could be the Commodore. Would you like to be the Commodore of Starfleet Boy? We would be honored if you'd be our fleet captain.
I think I've been one of those retros that died a couple of episodes ago.
No.
Or got transformed into one of these, polystyrene triangles or something and got crashed.
Oh, I can't wait till that episode. I might have a good prop for that by then. Christopher says, I think Enterprise has a better first season than TNG, DS9, or Voyager. First season, I will not put it up against Lower Decks. To me, original series season 1 has hits and misses for me, but less season 3. Another LOL. I'm glad we're making the audience laugh. Wait, is no one going to mention landing party guy shooting from behind the cover of the tumbleweed? That's because we mentioned hot landing party guy shooting from the tumbleweed in our cage discussion, Shishan Girl. So if you want to see us mention, but he's worth mentioning again. I also thought that the computer specialist was kind of cute in the computer room on the Starbase, and I also thought the suspicious co-pilot, what was his name? Halliman. What was his name? The
lieutenant who
the lieutenant, yeah.
Is like Hansen or something.
There's so many handsome people on Star Trek. I think it's because everyone's in really great physical fitness. Like everyone's always like exercising and doing all these crazy things, so they all look really nice all the time. And they have like they're always combing their hairs, which we don't do in the modern day, but I like it. I like combed hair. It's very nice. I can't comb my wig. I've tried. It looks fake.
Yep, I was right. I was right. That character's name is Lieutenant Hansen.
Oh, cool. Allison met Majel in Portland, Maine Creation Convention in 1995. Very cool. We'd love to know more about that. I also met Stan Lee. Oh, that's so cool. I know it is heartbreaking. And then let's see here. Alexandra says, so Alexandra actually watched this episode. What did you think, Alexandra? Everyone, actually, we're going to wrap up soon. So collect your final thoughts and let us know in the comments your verdict and rating on a scale of 1 to 10 for this episode as we prepare to give ours. So sorry for the late reply. I got sidetracked with that interview, but I'm finally replayed to your Reddit comment. Oh, this is something for I always do this. I'm sorry. That was not meant for us. That was meant for Stress Free K, I think. Daniel wants to be the cabin boy. You got it. Deal. Tumbleweed Dude is the same actor who played Fisher in Enemy Within. Oh, very nice. Very nice. All right, cool. So guys, let's give our final comments and ratings. I think I said it in the beginning, so my final comment is the same as like my opening kind of thoughts about it, where this episode is just like has become, it seems, a key episode in the Star Trek pantheon, only because it's been, not only was it really cool when it came out in terms of the story of the drama itself, the story of loyalty to a previous captain, the mutiny is very intense, the whole like adventure, and then finding out this like having a way to, like, even though it is integrating footage from a pilot that never aired, the story itself is worth displaying. So I'm glad that the story from the cage found its way into this story of, and it all ties in and it makes sense. So I think it's beautifully crafted. I definitely think it's a top 10 of all time episodes. And then also the fact that like so many other Star Trek seem to reference this episode and tie into it makes it even stronger in my book. So I give this episode, no surprise, a 10. Who wants to go next? I'm going to put, let's save Fathery for last. I'm going to say we save Fathery for last on this one. he just went away. Robbie, would you mind going next with your clothing thoughts and ratings?
I give it a 5 out of 10.
That's it. No other no other statements. What can I do to convince you to give it a 6? Come on.
How much did you give? How much did you give?
He gave it 5 out of 10.
Oh no, and yourself?
Oh, I gave it a 10.
Oh, okay.
All right, Gary, you're up. You're on the plate. Batter
Okay,
up.
so put me down and don't put me on full screen. I hate being on full screen, even though my live streams are on full screen. But
It's true,
anyhow,
your live streams are on full screen.
so bad. What did I want to say? Oh yes. So without not rewatching the episode and remembering it briefly, and not to devalue, I rarely give low ratings for episodes anyway. But I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's a good episode. If I would take away all the cage material, for myself, because if I would watch the episode before and then I know what happened between the characters, I think for me it would have been I wouldn't miss the cage footage from the episode itself, because it just feels like they're watching a movie at the end. So for me, I'll give a 7 at this moment, but I'll go back and rewatch it at one point, and I might be update you on that. But at the moment, I'll give out of a 7 out of a 10.
Excellent.
That's quite diplomatic, right?
It is, yeah. You didn't hear me like fighting you too much, unlike Robbie, who gave it a 5 because of the clip episode. I'm just teasing Robbie. I'm just kidding.
I'd probably give it more if I hadn't seen the cage before.
Oh, cool. I think that's fair.
I would give this episode. Well, really, it's 2 episodes, so I should say I would give these episodes, this 2-part story.
Actually, if we were doing it by parts, part 1 would be a 9, and part 2 would be a 10 for me.
Okay, if you say so. But for me, the combined story will score an 8.47. I'd give it 8.47 Spock altered record tapes out of 10.
Very good. Cool. So it averages at around about an 8. No, Robbie's 5 brings it down to about a 6.5. We do have some audience ratings as well. No, you don't have to apologize. I told you I wasn't going to give you a hard time, and I did. I apologize to you, Robbie. Alexander says, we have some audience reactions. Alexander says, will I watch this one with Anson Mount's Pike in mind? I'm unable to enjoy the original series in general. For what it is, I see no point in commenting about it. Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
I know. I love that you come to these live streams just for us. This really makes me happy because you do not like the original series. So I appreciate you for that. Shishan Girl, you can be the bartender. Allison, bye-bye and live long and prosper. So Steve gives it a 6 out of 10. So close to you, Robbie. An 8 out of 10 from Triangulum Studios. Was there another rating that I'm missing? Nope, that's it. All right, cool. All right, so we got through the first 2-parter of Star Trek, and this was not a 2-part episode of Starfleet Boy, but it was a long episode, so I appreciate you guys sticking in here and hanging in with us. Do you guys have anything to promote or talk about or tell the audience about before we go?
No.
Yes,
I do.
Okay, good. Come on, Father.
Everyone should check out the Text Trek YouTube channel and podcast. We cover every episode of new Star Trek. We stream live on Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Central as part of the hashtag TQIF lineup. And then we're followed by Starfleet Boy After Dark, where we get crazy and anything could happen.
Last night, what's that? Go ahead.
You had a wonderful discussion on episode 9.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, and we will be doing the Lower Deck season finale this coming Friday, so I'm very excited for that. The podcasts are all available in audio on the following Sunday.
And Starfleet Boy got his audio in ahead of time this time, so that was good. So I'll sound good on the audio. And I don't know if Father you're gonna ever use it, but there's a special surprise as I told you last night.
Yeah,
on the audio.
Later today.
Also, last night's Starfleet Boy After Dark, we did a ranking of all the opening credit title sequences of the Star Trek movies. So check that out and let us know in the comments if you're watching that what your favorite opening title sequence is from the films. We did not include the Kelvin films because we don't believe that they have opening title sequences. We don't even think we didn't include Nemesis, right? We didn't include Nemesis either because we didn't think it has an opening title sequence. So it only goes up to Insurrection, exactly. All right, so last things from the audience here. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Shishan Girl. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Stress Free K. Thank you, Triangle Studios. Thank you, Chris. And then Shishan says, Robbie, keep bringing on the awesome facts. That's awesome. I hope you'll keep coming on, Robbie. We love having you. And I hope all of you guys will keep coming on and keep coming to our live stream. So live long and prosper. And we'll see you next week for the Conscience of the Kings.